probably noticed a shift. More men are choosing peace over pursuit, not because they're giving up on love, not because they hate women, but because the math stopped making sense. When the cost of entry exceeds the value of the outcome, rational people walk away. That's not bitterness. That's economics. Modern dating has become a psychological minefield where one wrong word ends the relationship. One boundary gets you labeled toxic. And one moment of vulnerability gets weaponized in the next argument. Men are watching their friends get divorced and financially destroyed. They're seeing relationships where effort gets punished and silence gets rewarded. So they're choosing the third option, peace. I'm about to explain why this shift is happening, what it means, and why it's not going to reverse. This isn't a rant, it's an observation backed by psychology and data. If you're a man struggling with whether relationships are worth it, this will validate what you already feel. If you're a woman, why men seem disengaged, this will explain it. Let's get into it. Here's the first reason men are choosing peace. The rules changed, but nobody told them. 20 years ago, the dating script was clear. Man pursues, woman selects, both commit, relationship builds. The script wasn't perfect, but it was predictable. You knew what was expected. You knew what success looked like. Today's dating landscape has no script. Pursue too much and you're desperate. Don't pursue enough and you're not interested. Be vulnerable and you're weak. Stay stoic and you're emotionally unavailable. Express your needs and you're needy. Suppress your needs and you're hiding your true self. Every move is a potential trap. Men aren't withdrawing because they can't handle modern women. They're withdrawing because the game has no consistent rules, which makes it unwinnable. The second reason is that conflict resolution got replaced with scorekeeping. Healthy relationships require the ability to fight, forgive, and move forward. But modern relationships increasingly operate on a point system where every mistake gets cataloged and brought up in future arguments. You forgot to text back in 2019? That's evidence in the 2024 breakup conversation. This creates a dynamic where men feel like they're constantly being evaluated instead of loved. Every interaction is a test. Every conversation is a performance review. There's no grace, no benefit of the doubt, no room to be human. When you're in a relationship that feels like a job interview that never ends, eventually you quit. Peace means no performance reviews, no tests, no walking on eggshells wondering what will be used against you later. The third reason is weaponized therapy language. Therapy concepts like boundaries, gaslighting, emotional labor, and trauma have been incredibly valuable for people healing from real abuse. But these terms have been co-opted and weaponized in everyday arguments. Men are being told they're gaslighting when they disagree, violating boundaries when they ask questions, and causing trauma when they express frustration. When serious psychological terms get thrown around casually, men stop engaging. You can't have a reasonable conversation when disagreement gets labeled as abuse. You can't resolve conflict when expressing your perspective is called manipulation. Men are realizing that in these dynamics, the only winning move is not to play. Peace doesn't throw around clinical diagnoses during arguments. Peace just is. The fourth reason is that vulnerability became a trap. For decades, women said they wanted men to open up emotionally. Be vulnerable. Share your feelings. Don't be a stoic robot. So men tried. They opened up about their fears, insecurities, and struggles. And in too many cases, that vulnerability got weaponized. Confessions made in intimacy became ammunition in arguments. Emotional openness was met with loss of respect. The man who cried in front of his partner found himself being treated as less attractive afterward. Men learned the hard lesson that what's rewarded in theory gets punished in practice. Now, they're returning to stoicism. Not because they're emotionally stunted, but because emotional exposure comes with too high a risk. Peace doesn't punish you for having feelings. The reason is that modern dating requires constant entertainment. Relationships have become less about partnership and more about content. Every date needs to be Instagram-worthy. Every weekend needs to be an adventure. Every conversation needs to be stimulating. Men are exhausted by the expectation to constantly perform, plan, and provide novelty. In healthy relationships, you can sit in comfortable silence. You can have boring weekends. You can just exist together without needing to create memories for social media. But modern dating culture has conditioned people to expect constant stimulation. Men are realizing that peace offers something relationships increasingly don't: rest. You don't have to perform for peace. You don't have to be on all the time. You just get to be. The sixth reason is the risk-reward ratio is broken. Let's talk economics. Men are looking at relationships and calculating the investment versus return. The investment includes time, money, emotional energy, and opportunity costs. The potential return includes companionship, intimacy, partnership, and family. But the risk includes false accusations, biased family courts, financial destruction, and social ostracization. When you factor in divorce statistics hovering around 50, with men typically losing custody of children, losing half their assets, and paying alimony while being painted as the villain, the risk-reward calculation doesn't favor participation. This isn't cynicism, it's math. Men are opting out not because they don't want love, but because the stakes are too high for an increasingly uncertain outcome. Peace carries no legal risk, no financial exposure, no custody battles. The seventh reason is that self-improvement became non-negotiable but one-directional. Modern dating culture tells men to level up constantly. Earn more, get fit, develop hobbies, go to therapy, learn emotional intelligence, read more, travel more, be more interesting. Meanwhile, the expectation for women to reciprocally improve has been labeled as patriarchal oppression. Men are expected to be 6 feet tall, 6-figure earners, 6-pack abs, while accepting women at any level of development as queens who deserve the world. This asymmetry breeds resentment. When one party is expected to constantly improve while the other is celebrated as perfect by default, partnership becomes impossible. Men are choosing peace because peace doesn't demand you become someone you're not while refusing to grow itself. The eighth reason is that dating apps turned relationships into shopping. Swipe culture created the illusion of infinite options, which obliterated pair bonding. Why work through conflict when you can swipe right on someone new? Why invest in one person when 47 others are in your DMs? This abundance mindset destroys relationships before they started. Men are watching women monkey branch from relationship to relationship, always looking for something better, never satisfied because the next option is one swipe away. Men are realizing they're competing not with other men, but with the fantasy of a perfect match that doesn't exist. Peace doesn't swipe left when things get hard. Peace doesn't have a wandering eye. Peace is present. The ninth reason is that traditional masculinity got demonized while its benefits were still expected. Men are told that traditional masculinity is toxic. Don't be aggressive, don't be dominant, don't be stoic, don't be a provider. But when the car breaks down, when someone needs to be confronted, when bills need to be paid, suddenly traditional masculinity is very much required. Men are tired of being told their natural traits are problematic until those traits are convenient. You can't tell men to deconstruct their masculinity and then complain they're not masculine enough when you need something heavy lifted. Men are choosing peace because peace doesn't demand you apologize for your nature while simultaneously exploiting it. The 10th reason is that loneliness became preferable to bad company. This is the bottom line. Men are weighing solitude against partnership and finding that solitude wins. Being alone means nobody's criticizing your hobbies, controlling your time, or starting arguments over nothing. Being alone means your home is peaceful. Your finances are yours. Your decisions are yours. Yes, loneliness has a cost. But so does being in a relationship that drains you. Men are calculating that cost and realizing that peaceful solitude beats chaotic companionship. They're not giving up on love. They're refusing to settle for dysfunction disguised as love. So what does this mean for the future? This isn't a temporary trend. Men aren't going to suddenly forget what they've learned. The more men choose peace, the more acceptable it becomes. The more examples of peaceful, fulfilled single men exist, the less pressure there is to pursue relationships that don't serve you. Women can respond in two ways. Blame men for opting out, which will push more men toward peace, or reflect on what changed in dating dynamics that made partnership feel like punishment instead of reward. The latter requires uncomfortable self-examination. The former is easier but solves nothing, and for men who are currently struggling with this decision, here's what I'll say. Choosing peace doesn't mean hating women. It doesn't mean giving up on love. It means refusing to participate in a system that no longer values what you bring. You're not broken. You're not failing. You're making a rational choice based on the current landscape. If someone comes along who genuinely adds to your peace instead of disrupting it, great. If not, you're not losing anything. You already chose peace. You already chose yourself. That's not defeat. That's self-respect. Now here's my question for you. Do you think men are walking away because they're scared of commitment? Or because the deal got worse? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you found this perspective valuable, hit subscribe for more content that discusses uncomfortable truths without apology. Peace isn't the problem. It might be the solution.